Evening, ladies and gents. How are you doing? Great post today from a very logical northern chap, Morgoth's Review. And he made an excellent point about Darren Grimes, who, again, because he's a northern working class white lad, is fair game for literally millions of tolerant, progressive, liberal chap to constantly harass everything he posts. They hound him, but all of a sudden, they've been a bit quiet about this story. I wonder why. Britlibs love to dogpile Grimes' account, says Morgoth. They think he's a lol cow, but when he posts something like this, they all stay away. It's as if a politically incorrect truth is to the liberal as garlic is to a vampire. It's pretty repellent. It is indeed. They constantly hound him. Like, he posts the most pleasant, reasonable things, and there's 20,000 people lining up to mock him. They genuinely are detestably hypocritical in the worst type of way. But the story was quite an interesting one, and I had to verify that it was real because, again, you would think, more fool me for actually being astounded still at this point, but you would think, with all the talk of misogyny and hatefulness towards women, with the likes of Rachel Reeves and Jess Phillips even trying to get new legislation passed to make mild criticism of a female MP hate crime, so they could lock you up for 10 years for pointing out the obvious that Jess Phillips has got teeth like a dead sheep and the IQ of a pork pie. They want to make that illegal, right? So you would think if there was some real misogyny, something like, I don't know, not merely name-calling, what about windmilling on a woman's face? Yeah, roundhousing a bird's lips off at a petrol station. Surely they'd do something about that, wouldn't they? Darren posted this picture and linked to a story on The Telegraph. Man assaulted 3 Asian women he berated for their appearance. Oh, we can finally agree. We can finally agree with Keir Starmer, can't we? A man assaulted 3 innocent Asian women purely for their appearance. So that is definitely a misogynistic attack and definitely a hate crime. Yeah, Asian women, you can't just beat them up for no reason. This man should definitely go to prison for at least 10 years. Yeah. Mr. Hassan called them prostitutes. Oh, Mr. Hassan, you say? £50 fine. Right then, it's depressingly predictable as usual, the news today, but what can you do? Very salient point from Morgoth. Darren Grimes gets tortured online 24/7. Just vitriolic hatred, and fair play to him, he takes it like a man. That isn't a euphemism for those of you that know about Darren Grimes. But let's read the story anyway, shall we? A man berated 3 women, prostitutes, in inverted commas, so probably weren't actual prostitutes, were they? For not wearing traditional Asian dress and putting on makeup. And he violently attacked them, a court heard. I can't keep mentioning that name. It's awful. It's tantamount to a hate crime in and of itself. So from now on, we'll call him Martin Hill, right? Martin Hill. That sounds much better. We'll just pretend we're on the BBC and rename anybody that sounds a bit dusky. Martin Hill assaulted the victims after spotting them at a petrol station in Bradford. In a 51-second attack captured on CCTV, bank the rights then, Mr. Hill grabbed the driver and slammed her head onto the dashboard of the vehicle before grabbing another woman's hair, punching her in the head, and then attacking the third woman. Mr. Hill from Bradford, obviously he's from Bradford, was sentenced to 6 months in prison. Suspended for 2 years? Avoiding prison time for knocking 10 bells of shite out of 3 ethnic minority women? How is this possible when I just read about a 52-year-old housewife getting sent to prison for sending a rude Facebook message? Or how is this possible when I read about a pleasant family man with a wife and kids getting sent to prison for 2 years for just putting a few stickers up? Surely my eyes must be deceiving me. There must be some extenuating circumstances, surely. Ayman Kokkar, prosecuting, told Bradford Crown Court Hassan knew the 3 women. Oh, okay then. I guess it's all right to give a bird so many combinations she thinks she's a safe, as long as you know her. And the group had stopped for fuel on Harrogate Road while they were on the way to dinner on May 25th. Yeah, refuelling on the way to Harrogate for your dinner. That sounds very, very lady of the night to me, yeah. Have you ever been to Harrogate? Harrogate is the poshest town ever. Harrogate's one of those places, when I did this years ago during a live stream, where you can just throw the name at me and I know whether or not it's Remain or Brexit, purely by the amount of toffee-nosed chiselers that live there. Harrogate's well posh. It's all Betty's tea rooms and personal trainers. Doesn't sound like they were about to grab their ankles for a swarthy taxi driver, but what do I know? Mr. Hill pulled up alongside the women and appeared to be refueling his car slowly on purpose. The women decided to wait until he'd left before getting out of their vehicle, and he'd previously objected to their non-traditional dress. He then called them slags and prosies and demanded that they dress conservatively. He sounds perfect for a job at the BBC, this fella. After paying for his fuel, Mr. Hill marched to the women's car and started punching and pushing them before driving off when the women called 999. The victims suffered swelling, bruises, marks and scratches. Mr. Hill was silent during a police interview but later admitted a fray. In broad daylight, he attacked 3 females at a petrol station. The offence appears to be motivated by sexist attitudes towards women. Mitigating Fuad Arshad, Christ on a bike. Is there anybody in this entire town who has a name that you might have heard in a British primary school classroom any time before about 1994? They said his client believed the women played a role in how a marriage ended, but accepted his actions were unjustified. Oh, that explains the light sentence. Judge Colin Byrne. They finally get an English name, and it's the raving lunatic, sparrow-boned soy boy judge who's actually doing the sentencing. Says whatever the motivation for this, it's utterly inadequate to justify the violence. These were 3 people, women who were in a vulnerable situation. It's extremely abusive and controlling and violent. Therefore, no prison for you, 180 hours of unpaid work. To sum up, you have to have less brains than a pissed goldfish to think that there isn't a blatantly obvious 2-tier justice system. If I did that to 3 minority defenceless women at a petrol station and Sam Melly got 2 years for stickers, I'd get 10. This bloke got a slap on the wrist and had to do some unpaid work. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to stop going on about this stuff because, well, 2 reasons. A, it's painfully obvious and everybody knows that there's a 2-tier justice system, and B, if I keep reading these brazen attacks on the British legal system and the British working classes, the white working classes, whereby you go to prison for years for being rude online, but they get sentenced to unpaid work for knocking 10 bells of shite out of a bunch of innocent ethnic minority women, I will have a rage bone that lasts for 3 weeks. I'll be tent pegging my trousers so badly I won't be able to go to work for a month. So I'm going to have to stop reading them, but that is shocking. I'll put a link to the story in the comments so you can read it for yourself. So you know I'm not just like, making this stuff up. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Unbelievable. Thanks for tuning in anyway. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.